Welcome to Business Morning, live from our global headquarters here in Lagos. I'm Busi Namafaye. Let's kick off the show with a few headline grabbers. Acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo yesterday signed 3 far-reaching, quote-unquote, executive orders to ease business, fast-track budget submissions, and thirdly, promotes made-in-Nigeria products. This is what the first executive order, in terms of what it looks like on the heading, says it's for the promotion of transparency and efficiency in the business environment. That first executive order is very, very far-reaching, and we're going to spend the next days and weeks talking about the details of the executive order number 1. It goes to the ease of doing business from the ports to every other part of what we do in the businesses and transparency in the MDAs. All of them are included. Then we get to the executive order number 2, which was essentially basically to support local content in public procurement by the federal government. That is also very key. That's where the Made in Nigeria initiative comes in, and we'll get about 2 minutes of that report in a couple of minutes. Hang around for that, and of course we'll go to discuss that more, how to get the states and local governments to be part of the executive order number 2 in terms of procurement by federal government. Yes, the federal government has signed on. Now the states and local governments are asked to sign on. Then we'll go to executive order number 3, which is about budget fast-tracking. That executive order says that all MDAs should, by the month of May or by the end of May, submit all their proposals to the Ministry of Finance, which should be put together, and by the end of July, the Ministry of Finance with the Ministry of National Planning and Budget should put finality to those documents. Well, perhaps this executive order is coming a little bit late for 2018. But we're going to find out, because the executive orders were signed yesterday, the 18th of May. So will all the MDAs be able to meet the new deadline? That was signed yesterday by the acting president. So that looks like we may be waiting until next year for that to take place. We have about a few days more to the end of May. Okay, so let's move on. It's the countdown to the final week of President Muhammadu Buhari's midterm report. And of course, all next week we're going to be all over the stories surrounding the economy, business, investments, and the marketplace. And we have a lot to talk about under the administration's past 24 months. So we're asking everyone from today to join the conversation and send your comments and questions to us here on the show at Biz Morning. That's the platform for all our business programming here on Channels Television. Or you want to put it in at Channels TV. That's the Twitter handle for the channel itself. Or, of course, if you think you want to direct that at my very good self, I'm at Bbosin on Twitter. So it's going to be Buhari's midterm report next week. Monday is 22nd. The upper Monday is May the 29th. So let's look at what's going to be on the agenda next week. It's going to be, if you think this week's been very busy, next week is going to be exceptional. Monday, Tuesday, the Central Bank of Nigeria's third monetary policy committee meeting in 2017 will take place. This is the final MPC before May 29 midterm report of the administration. And of course, we expect the announcement later in the day on Tuesday, the 23rd. Now, on Thursday, it looks really, really busy. The Statistics Office, that's called the NBS, will release first quarter GDP report at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's just about when Godwin Emefiele and the rest of his team will be meeting for the second and final day of their MPC meeting. So, on Tuesday, you find the report. Then you have the AMCON releasing its 2016 financial statement to analyst community in Lagos. Then you find the LCCI on May 25th, the presidential policy dialogue with the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and the president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Agboje Ike Imokwere, in attendance as the chief speaker and chairman of the event, respectively. And of course, starting from Monday, is the annual meetings of the African Development Bank in Ahmedabad, India. That is one very crucial meeting for the entire week that will have a number of Nigerians in attendance. And finally, would we have the final closure on budget 2017 before May 29 midterm anniversary? The acting president says he will sign off on that document as soon as all the contents are aligned. So it hasn't been signed. So the key question is, would we have the final closure on the budget by next week? So let's take one part of the executive orders, and that's the executive order number 2. And that was where Thursday the presidency appeals to state and local governments to key into the procurement laws of the Federation, which advocates 30% patronage of made in Nigeria goods. The Ministry of Trade and Investment and Information told journalists at a briefing in Abuja about the initiative, explaining how the initiative will boost the non-oil sector.
This meeting, organized by the Ministry of Trade and Investment and that of the Ministry of Information, is targeted at getting the full support of Nigerians in the drive toward self-sufficiency. The Minister of State for Industries, Trade and Investment gives statistics of how over 6.7 trillion naira was used to import goods and services in 2015. She, however, says this could be reversed if state and local government join forces with the federal government to grow the businesses of local manufacturers.
Though this campaign is being driven by the government, its success will largely depend on the collective resolve to do the right thing and imbibe the virtues of consumer patriotism for us to achieve our goals. I wish to call on all the state and local governments as well as government agencies, including our esteemed private sector, to comply with the current government procurement laws and give priority to Nigerian products in all procurement activities.
Her view was also shared by her colleagues, who say time has come for Nigeria to move away from being a single export commodity nation.
You can imagine if all our young men and women are gainfully employed, and they can be gainfully employed unless our consumption pattern changes.
It means that one of the most important responsibilities we have as a people and as a government is to reduce the cost of doing business, is to make producing things here cheaper and more affordable and easier, and also to attract the investment that is needed.
Representatives of Manufacturers Association appeal for policies that will support the growth of their businesses.
We believe that if well implemented, the era of exporting jobs and wealth to our foreign trading partners will be over. Manufacturing will take its pride of place in the economic growth and development of the country.
The campaign for the Made in Nigeria good has been commended by many Nigerians. It is, however, expected that the policy will be sustained for better socio-economic development in the country.